Welcome to our channel of IGNOU Audiobooks, Indira Gandhi National Open University, School of Interdisciplinary and Transdisciplinary Studies, SOITS, Master of Arts, Environmental Studies, MAEVS. First year, MEVO 14 Sustainable Natural Resource Management. Block 1 Natural Resources, Unit 2 Water Resources, 2.0 Introduction. As we know that water is absolutely rudimental to life on Earth. Approximately 71% of Earth's surface covered with a total volume of 325 million cubic miles of water, out of which 97.5% of volume is present in oceans and seas. Fresh water with less than 0.1% salt content covered the remaining 2.5% of volume. Two-thirds of 2.5% is occupied in glaciers. Groundwater and atmosphere serve as ecosystem capital, such as goods and services that are essential for human beings, such as potable water, water for irrigation, industries, hydroelectric power, transportation, recreation, processing of waste and habitat for water. Ecosystem. Dear learner, with this introduction, we will discuss more on its distribution, utilization and related issues. 2.1 Objectives. After studying this unit, you should be able to fill circle explain the relationship between ground and surface waters. Fill circle explain the uneven distribution of water on Earth's surface. Fill circle explain the global conflicts on water resources, and explain the environmental impacts of overexploitation of water resources. 2.2 Water Resources. The main sources of fresh water are surface water and groundwater. Let us first learn about supply and distribution of water resources. 2.2.1 Distribution and supply. There are plentiful quantities of water available on the earth and less than 1% of it is liquid water. Most of the water is in oceans, approximately 325 million cubic miles, and it contains 35 grams L of minerals, salts, hence it is unsuitable for drinking and irrigation and industrial purpose. The quantity of water is not declining, however, the requirement is increasing in a huge scale. Presently, world population is about 7.8 billion. The quantity of potable water is decreasing due to the contamination. We have already learned that about 2.4 million cubic miles, 10 million cubic kilometers, of the world's fresh water is available in aquifers located underground. Out of the remaining 28,500 cubic miles, 119,000 cubic kilometers, is from rainfall, 1,200 cubic miles, 5,000 cubic km, from reservoirs, 21,830 cubic miles, 91,000 cubic km, from lakes, and 509 cubic miles, 2,120 cubic km, are from rivers. The distribution of water is related with its political boundaries, economic development and wealth. Some countries are severely suffering with shortage of clean water for their overpopulation and cannot afford for necessary infrastructure to purify, transport and unable to meet the standards set by World Health Organization. As previously learned, water never really diminishes away but changes its form. This can be explained by water cycle that has been already discussed in previous courses. However, here we will discuss briefly how the movement of water takes place in and around the earth. The sun drives the entire water cycle and is responsible for its two major components, condensation and evaporation. When the sun heats the surface of water, it evaporates and ends up in the atmosphere as water vapor. It cools and rises, becoming clouds, which eventually condense into water droplets. Depending on the temperature of the atmosphere and other conditions, the water precipitates as rain, sleet, hail or snow. Some of this precipitation is captured by tree canopies and evaporates again into the atmosphere. The precipitation that hits the ground becomes runoff, which can accumulate and freeze into snow caps or glaciers. It can also infiltrate the ground and accumulate, eventually storing in aquifers. An aquifer is a large deposit of groundwater that can be extracted and used. This runoff also comes from snow melt. Finally, some of this runoff makes its way back into lakes and oceans, where it is again evaporated by the sun. You have already learned about the detailed mechanism of water cycle in the block energy flow in Material cycling. Water cycle is a part of water distribution and supply. Potable. Water is available and collected either from underground water or surface water. Mostly, it is free from pathogens, chemical toxicants, colorless and free from suspended solids. Water from underground is accessed by borewell or drilling. Borehole. In general, groundwater is free from toxic chemicals and available in good quality, but sometimes it may contain iron and magnesium salts due to anaerobic conditions. These will be removed by oxidation process by aeration. Surface water is also accessed by pumping, canal system by building barrages across rivers and building dam across a valley near catchment area, and before supply to the usage it will undergo purification in a treatment plant. 2.2.2 Surface and groundwater. Surface water is a body of water exists above the ground in a stream, river, lake, wetlands, reservoir, and ocean. Surface water constantly be a part of water cycle, where the water movement happens to and from the surface of the earth by the process of precipitation and evaporation and seepage of water into the ground. According to the APA, about 68% of public water system source is from a surface water. The surface water resources are useful for performing vital functions for the environment and human beings. Most of the fresh surface water systems assist ecosystem functions and provide habitat for diverse plant and animal species. Surface waters also support number of human uses, such as potable water, livestock, irrigation, sewage treatment, industrial uses, hydropower, and amusement. Fresh surface waters also determine the extent and condition of various available water resources, which includes groundwater, wetlands, rivers and coastal systems. Groundwater, which is accessed by drilling borewells, because water is present inside the rock pores and spaces under the ground surface. The surface water and groundwater depend on each other for replenishing, because surface water will seep down to reach underground to replenish groundwater, whereas groundwater can resurface upwardly on the ground to recharge surface water bodies, such as springs. Both are inextricably linked with each other. Surface water is classified into three types. Firstly, perennial water bodies, in which surface water is available throughout the year and also recharge the groundwater. Secondly, ephemeral, in which water is available only in some seasons, such as lagoons and creeks. Thirdly, man-made surface water structures such as constructed dams and wetlands. Monitoring surface water can be done by both satellite imagery and surface measurements. The rate of flow can be measured by calculating the quantity of water flowing down per unit of time. Monitoring surface water and vegetation around it helps to regulate the impact of anthropogenic activities and climate change. The extent of surface water provides the information about stressor of environment and human beings, such as withdrawal for drinking purpose, irrigation and industrial usage, point source, melting of snow, and rate of evaporation. Other monitoring indicator is the condition of water, such as physiochemical and biological indicators like temperature, salinity, nutrients, contaminants and pathogens. In case of groundwater, the extent is available measurable quantity with reference to volume that indicates thickness of aquifer. The extent is depending on depletion of aquifers, dry perennial streams, salt water intrusion and withdrawal of groundwater. This can lead to soil erosion, floods and alter the aquatic ecosystems. The condition of groundwater depends on physiochemical properties like flow pattern, direction. Regions where less water supply or non-available surface waters, groundwater, is comparatively clean and dependable and drawn in the dry seasons with less pollution. 2.2.3 Use and overutilization of surface and groundwater. Use of surface and groundwater are divided into consumptive and non-consumptive purposes. In consumptive use, water will be completely utilized, and in non-consumptive use, water will not be completely utilized. Conjunctive use of surface water and groundwater is pivotal for integrated water resources management. It helps to remove susceptibility of water supply systems and to reduce the stress on water supply with reference to climate change. Basically, the global usage of water is divided into three important sectors: I. Agriculture, E. Industry, E. Domestic. Some examples of global water usage are as follows. Agriculture. Agriculture is most important sector for water use. Accounts for about 70% of both water sources consumption and groundwater remain the final resource when surface water sources diminished. The estimated global water demand of agriculture is likely to increase by 19% further due to irrigational demands by 2050. Industry. In the industrial activities, approximately 20% of global water is required, which is a huge share of water stored in reservoirs and dams. In industry, 60 to 70% of water is used for generation of hydro power and nuclear power generation, 40% is utilized in industrial process and 1 to 3% is used in generation of thermal power. Maintaining power generation plants are very difficult. Nuclear power plants like fossil fuel power plants in which it is used as a solvent, coolant for raw material, a transport agent, and an energy source. The cooling process is attained by evaporation procedure. Water resources of all industries, manufacturing industries like chemical and metal industries consume maximum share of water. Domestic use. The use of domestic water is depending on the quality of available water for the purpose of drinking, washing of clothes, gardening, cooking, individual hygiene and vehicles, etc. Research analysis indicates that on an average person uses 750 liters per day in developed country, when compared to 100 to 150 liters per day person in developing country. Water scarcity is one of the global issues because overutilization of surface and groundwater continuously has become a serious problem in today's world. There are two main reasons behind this unprecedented growth of human population and increase in anthropogenic water pollution across the globe. With this result, there has been continuous overuse of the present water sources to meet their needs. Groundwater is the main source of water across the world, but there has been continuous depletion of water resources without replenishing because of its exploitation by overpopulation and the expeditious leap of urbanization. Due to increase in global population growth, climate change and economic growth, there would be tremendous pressure on water supply by 2050. The research results revealed that more than 1 billion people are living in areas where demand of water surpass water supply. It is also believed that global climate change can also have an impact on hydrological cycle by rise in evaporation. Through these climatic sequences, rate of intensity, amount of precipitation and timing are hugely disturbed. It also alters the water fluidity and storage in surface and subsurface reservoirs. Some of the consequences of water exploitation are as follows. Diminishing the water table. Exhausting the groundwater by means of pumping can lower the groundwater table, which leads to drying of wells. The erratic and inadequate rainfall caused reduction in storage of water in reservoirs. This also led to decrease in groundwater. Additional costs. Once the water table decreases, the available water has to be pumped off from farther distance to bring up the surface level by using external force with more energy. This process increases the cost. Diminishing ground. Reduced land subsidence. Land subsidence is a situation that occurs when the withdrawal rate of groundwater is more than the rate of recharge. It is caused by anthropogenic activities. In these, sediments present in aquifers get compressed, that followed by sinking of above surface of land or soil collapse by loss of support underground. This land subsidence leads to damage in buildings, pipes and reverses the flow of canals. Deterioration in the quality of water in coastal regions. Over pumping of groundwater can cause movement of salt water to surface, leads to intrusion of salt water into mainstream of water that contaminates the water supply, thereby making it unusable for drinking purpose and agricultural activities. The overuse also makes groundwater in the vicinity of agricultural fields that contains fertilizer and pesticide with nitrogen, which percolates and pollute the water and make it unfit for drinking purpose. For infants, 2.3 Conflicts over water. Conflict over water can be described as a conflict on access to water resources. It may be between various countries or states, or groups across the globe. The United Nations realized that conflicts over water is a consequence of disturbing the need and usage of water users, public purpose or private purpose. There are many water conflicts emerged in the history, but it has been a source of tension and a conflict because of several reasons like disputes in territories, for resources, and for deliberate advantage. Pacific Institute developed a comprehensive online database of conflicts over water. Conflicts over water are for both freshwater and saltwater, but most of the time occur over freshwater since these resources are scarce and inevitable and used for drinking purpose, irrigation and generation of power. Fresh water is a vital element for the survival of living beings, especially for human beings, yet geographically they are unevenly distributed and have an impact on regions. Economic conditions. Dear learner, here we are discussing some important global water conflicts. 2. 3.1 Nile Basin. The longest river on the planet, the Nile proceeds with finite quantity of water. The river basin is shared by 11 riparian countries that developed a huge pressure on the demographic and economic growth of the region, where millions of people depend on this basin for their livelihoods. The Nile water dispute over access to the water and rights over it emerged among these riparian countries. An effort has been made with mutual consent basis for cooperation and established the Nile Basin Initiative, NBI, in 1999, for sharing substantial socio-economic benefits and regional peace and security promotion, and achieved some successes with the help of World Bank. Eventually, the NBI converted into a permanent cooperative framework agreement, CFA. In 2015, trilateral negotiations between Egypt, Sudan. Since only 120 m³ water per capita per year is available, which is below the World Bank's threshold of water scarcity, which is defined as 1,000 cubic meters capita per year. As a consequence of severe mismanagement, Yemen's precipitation is only 9% on an average per decade, resulted in water scarcity that indicates non-uniform distribution across socio-economic of society. The small farmers are unable to compete in the race to the bottom of the aquifer because of expensive deep tube wells. The consequence of this conflict impacts on the people, which are not uniformly distributed with high level of corruption and nepotism. This situation resulted in water scarcity with fueling the political insecurity emergency in Yemen. 2.3.3 Afghanistan and Iran. Afghanistan, which is geographically landlocked and shares most of its river basins with adjoining countries. As part of restoration efforts, Afghanistan has developed schemes for infrastructure development on these transboundary rivers to completely utilize their irrigation and hydroelectric possibilities. Afghanistan's efforts to utilize the waters from the Helmand River and the Harirud-Murghab River that contribute post-conflict restoration and development have upset Iran. The Iranian government assessed Afghanistan's agricultural extension and construction of dam as warnings to water security in the provinces of eastern and northeastern regions. These disputes intensified, with huge ineffective water treaties, cooperative initiatives, unwillingness to take part in water consultations, integrated with Iran's paradoxical pursuit of support, backbone or current of life of Southeast Asia, and also extraordinarily abundant in natural resources, served for livelihoods of more than 70 million people. The river basin is expanded for generation of hydropower by building dam that covers China and Laos, which leads to diplomatic tensions in anticipation of downstream of the dams may have negative impacts, like flooding and seasonal water scarcity. To resolve these issues, the Mekong River Commission's MRC has been established, but China reluctant to join. As a full member, instead it is involved with riparians at downstream for construction of dam in the lower Mekong basin with alternative institutional mechanisms and offering assistance. 2.3.5 Kaveri Basin in India. There is a conflict over the Kaveri River water between Indian states of Karnataka and Tamil Nadu, which has recently re-emerged with regard to drier climate conditions. The consequences are not only legal conflict, but also violent demonstration after decisions to amend water distribution between the two states. Both Karnataka and Tamil Nadu denied to accept the Final result of the Kaveri Water Disputes Tribunal (CWDT) dialogue in 2007, which determined new quantities of water to be allocated to the two states. 2.3.6 Somalia. Somalia is facing various associated security and developmental issues. Often, conflicts arise between different communities trying hard for access to scarce resources like water, and dominant political influence make it highly uncertain. Environment. The federal government of Somalia, FGS, is established in 2012 and struggled to fight against drought and famine. Recurrent droughts in Somalia bring notable pressures on agrarian livelihoods. Droughts also made shepherds to sell more of their livestock than normal, that leads to declining in prices of livestock and degenerating local incomes. 2.4 Environmental impact of water exploitation. Water exploitation is calculated by using Water Exploitation Index, WEI. The Water Exploitation Index was introduced by the European Environment Agency, EEA, which means the annual total freshwater abstraction in a country is a percentage of its long-term average of available water. The major environmental impact of exploitation of water is disruption of natural water cycle. Human beings have disturbed the natural water cycle in the following ways. A. By removing water from the groundwater and surface water to be released water resources in a different location. B. By terminating infiltration by building impervious surfaces and ceasing the natural infiltration and drainage patterns. The water use cycle disturbs the natural water cycle by withdrawing water for various activities of human consumption. A pipe system will be used to withdraw the water from a source of groundwater or surface water. Frequently, the water is released into another location that is not connected to the source of water. The water use cycle relocates water quantity from the source to the collecting water site without exploiting the natural cleanup and recharge. This process has adverse impacts on the natural water resource. At the point of water removal, there is insufficient water to assist various other functions, and, regarding groundwater, the adverse effects can be significant if water is withdrawn more rapidly than it is replaced by recharge. The hindered water cycle additionally alters the natural water cycle by avoiding precipitation on the pavement and other water-resistant surfaces, where it is directed to the site of a piped stormwater collection to a river. That leads in further ceasing of the groundwater recharge, aggravating the environmental impact on the natural ecosystems. These changes tend to reduce depth of water, rise in water temperature, enhance the adverse impact of sediment oxygen demand, and finally deteriorate the water quality. Urbanization causes impermeable regions which also carry exorbitant and frequently warm water in a very swift way. The extra rainstorm produces streams to erode, widen, that leads to flat, wide. Along with this physical degradation, the ecosystem damage can also occur because of the warmer water. We all know that warmer water unable to hold more dissolved oxygen, which is dangerous to cold water species. 2.5 Groundwater management. Groundwater management plays a significant role in water resources management for sustainable development with regard to the livelihood of rural populations, urbanization, industrial process and industrial activities. The following are the three main deliberations for environmentally robust management. I. Groundwater development is a long-term sustainable plan. It indicates that the rate of withdrawal should be equal to or less than the rate of replenish. If the rate of withdrawal is greater than the rate of replenish, groundwater mining will occur. Once mining occurs, the level of groundwater will diminish, resulting in increased pumping price. E. Anthropogenic activities, which could decrease the groundwater quality for prospective forthcoming use, should be managed. These include activities like chemical leaching such as nitrates and phosphates from substantial and rigorous pastoral activities, adulteration by chemical toxins, and undesirable chemicals from landfills and environmentally insane waste management practices, bacterial and viral contamination due to the lack of sewage treatment and effluent emission practices, and increasing water salinity because of ineffective or inappropriate irrigation practices, and in coastal regions groundwater salinization due to over-withdrawal by pumping. Inappropriate and unsustainable groundwater management resulted in adverse environmental impacts like desiccation of wetlands and reduction in base flow. 2.6 Let us sum up. Through this unit, we have discussed the distribution of water resources and conflicts over water. Further, we have discussed the environmental impact of water exploitation. Thank you for watching. We will see you in the next video with next chapter.